Nothing that has ever happened on this planet will be watched by more people than the 2026 World Cup. Nothing. No moon landing. No Olympics. No Super Bowl. No concert. No funeral. Nothing. And 90% of people have absolutely no idea how big this is actually going to be. By the end of this video you will understand exactly why this is not just another football tournament, why it will change every sport on earth forever, and why you are probably going to end up watching it whether you care about football or not. First, let's get some baseline numbers so you actually understand the scale. The 2022 World Cup in Qatar was the biggest event anyone had ever seen up to that point. 5 billion people watched at least 1 minute of it. That is 2 out of every 3 human beings alive on Earth. The most watched Super Bowl of all time? 115 million people. That is not even 2.5% of the World Cup audience. You could stack every single Super Bowl ever played on top of each other, and they would still not be half as big as one average World Cup. And 2022 was nothing. FIFA's internal projections right now say that 2026 will be watched by 6 billion people. But that number is actually irrelevant, because almost no one is talking about the single biggest change that has ever been made to any major sports tournament in history. For almost 30 years the World Cup had 32 teams. In 2026 it will have 48. That sounds boring. That sounds like FIFA just added a bunch of bad teams to make more money. And that is partially true. But almost nobody has done the actual math on what that change means. The 2022 World Cup had 64 total games. The 2026 World Cup will have 104. Let me say that again. This is not a 10% bigger World Cup. This is not a 20% bigger World Cup. This is 1.5 entire World Cups glued together. It is 62% longer. For an entire month there will be 4 games a day, every single day. Every single football expert on the planet will tell you that expanding the World Cup will make the football worse. And they are 100% completely correct. And it does not matter even one tiny little bit. Nobody watches the World Cup for good football. They watch it for their country. If you are from Morocco you did not care that France were a much better team in the semi-final. You watched. If you are from Canada you did not care that Croatia beat you 4-1. 4.3 million Canadians watched that game. That is 1 out of every 10 people in the entire country. That is more people than watched the final game of the Stanley Cup. 16 completely new countries will qualify for the World Cup in 2026. Countries that have never ever been there before. That means 2 billion extra human beings now have a team to support. 2 billion people who did not care at all about the World Cup in 2022, who will now watch every single minute their country plays. But even that is not the real secret. The single most underrated fact about 2026, the thing that almost no one is talking about, is the kickoff times. Every single World Cup for the last 24 years has been played at an absolutely terrible time for 90% of the planet. 2022 was in Qatar. Games kicked off at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday in America. 2 a.m. in Australia. 2018 was in Russia. 7 a.m. in America. Midnight in Australia. 2014 was in Brazil. 3 a.m. in most of Europe and Asia. In 2026 almost every single major knockout game will kick off at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That is 6 p.m. Central. 4 p.m. Pacific. Midnight in the UK. 1 a.m. in mainland Europe. 9 a.m. in Australia. There has never in the entire 92-year history of the World Cup been a kickoff time that is even remotely this convenient for everyone. For the first time ever almost nobody has to skip work. Almost nobody has to stay up until 4 a.m. Every single person on Earth can watch the big games if they want to. FIFA's internal modeling says that the final will be watched live by 2.4 billion people. Let that sink in. 1 out of every 3 human beings alive. All sitting down and watching the exact same 90 minutes at the exact same time. There has never been a shared moment like that in all of human history. There will probably never be one again. But still, none of that is the most important part. The real reason this will be the biggest event ever is something that FIFA will never ever admit out loud. They did not give the World Cup to America because America is good at football. They gave the World Cup to America because America is good at making things feel like the biggest thing in the world. If you are not American you might not understand this. If you are American you know exactly what I mean. Every other country hosts a World Cup. America will turn the World Cup into the biggest show that has ever existed. There will be flyovers. There will be halftime shows. There will be celebrity appearances that will make your brain melt. Every single brand on planet Earth will spend every single dollar they have to be part of it. You will not be able to buy a bottle of water for 3 months without seeing a 2026 logo on it. All the annoying football snobs on Twitter are already complaining about this. They say it will be fake. They say it will be tacky. They say it will ruin the World Cup. And they are 100% correct. And it will still be the most watched thing ever made. Let me give you one final stat that will break your brain. The average attendance at the 2022 World Cup was 53,000 people per game. The average attendance at 2026 will be 77,000 people per game. 16 different games will have over 100,000 people in the stadium. The final will be played at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. They are currently planning to fit 110,000 people inside. That will make it the largest attended single sporting event in the history of the modern world. And by the way, that stadium has a retractable roof and full air conditioning. This will be the first World Cup final in history where nobody is sweating. Right now a lot of you are sitting there saying, yeah, that is all very impressive, but I still don't care about football. That is fine. You are still going to watch it. It is going to be everywhere. It will be in every YouTube video, every TikTok, every Instagram reel, every news broadcast, every conversation at work, every bar, every restaurant. There will be a 2-week period in the middle of 2026 where absolutely nothing else happens on planet Earth. If you think I am exaggerating, go and ask anyone over the age of 30 what they remember from the summer of 2010. They will remember the vuvuzelas. That is it. Nothing else. That is what the World Cup does. And there is one last secret that almost nobody has realized. This is almost certainly the peak. We will never ever have an event bigger than this. The world will never again be this connected. There will never again be one single thing that almost everyone agrees to care about. The internet is splitting into a million tiny pieces. Every single year there is more stuff to watch, more stuff to do, more things fighting for your attention. There will never again be a moment where 2.5 billion people all decide to watch the exact same thing at the exact same time. All of those people who tell you that the best World Cup ever was 1970, or 1986, or 1998, or 2022, they are wrong. The biggest, most ridiculous, most talked about, most memorable World Cup of all time is the one that is coming next. And almost nobody is ready for it. If you learned something from this video, or you are now just slightly more excited for 2026 than you were 10 minutes ago, hit the subscribe button. There is going to be an insane amount of stuff happening around this tournament between now and kickoff, and you do not want to miss it.